So hello everyone! Welcome to a lesson here in General Mathematics. So for our topic for today, it's under Chapter 1, Basic Functions. We're going to have two lessons. The first one is Functions IRL or Functions in Real Life. The second one is Evaluating Functions. So for the first lesson, let's move to representing real-life situations using functions or functions IRL. So here are our objectives. We want to represent real-life situations using functions, including what we call the piecewise functions. Identify if the given statement is a relation or a function. Well, to appreciate also the value of functions and to create a function based on a real-life situation. So for the first one, let's have a speed run. So how fast and accurate can you be? I'm going to give you a specific number of seconds to try to answer each specific question. So let's see if kaya nyo masagutan ng tama to. So una muna, I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Just say to me if it's true or false. So for the first statement, a function is a relation where each element in the domain is related to only one value in the range by some value. So I'm going to give you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. So the correct answer is true. Okay, your domain are your x values. Your range are your y values. If it's related to only one, yung isa sa domain mo related sa isang value sa range mo, it's a function. Sige, let's have our second statement. I'm also going to give you 5 seconds. Just say if it's true or false. For the second statement, all functions are relations. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is true. It's because lahat ng function natin, di ba nga, by definition, we say a function is a relation. So that means all of our functions are indeed relations. Tingnan natin for the third statement. I'm going to give you 5 seconds also to try to answer if it's true or false. So for our third statement, all relations are functions. So baliktad naman. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Time's up. The correct answer is false. Parang sa relasyon lang, hindi lahat ng relasyon ay nag-function. So I have here a comparison. So when we say relation, it's any set of ordered pairs. The set of all first elements of the ordered pairs is called the domain. As what I said earlier, the x values are our domain. And the second set naman, or tinatawag nating y values, are your range. Let's move to function. So a function is a relation or rule of correspondence between two elements. So meron kang domain, meron kang range, such that each element in the domain corresponds to exactly one element in the range, or tinatawag nating one-to-one correspondence. So we say that all functions are relations, but not all relations are functions. Kasi nga, by definition, a function is a relation. So let's move now to our next statement. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to determine kung ano ba ang tamang sagot. Is it A, B, C, or D? Pwedeng more than one ang answer, ha? For the fourth statement, given the following ordered pairs, which relations are functions? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, time's up. So the correct answer is letters A and B. Okay? The relations A and B are functions because each element in the domain corresponds to a unique element in the range. Meanwhile, relations C and D are not functions because they contain ordered pairs with the same domain. O sa letter C, meron kang C, 0, 1, tapos 0, negative 1. Isa yung domain mo, which is 0. And then it corresponds to dalawa sa range mo, 1 and negative 1. So pag ganun yung given mo, it's not anymore a function, pero it's a relation na lang. Yung letter D naman, meron kang AB, tapos AD. So, sa domain mo, meron kang letter A, tapos sa range mo, meron kang B, tapos D. So, yung A corresponds to letter B and to letter D. It's one to many sa range mo. So, pag one to many ka na, it's not anymore a function, rather it's a relation. So let's go to our fifth statement. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to try to answer it again. So choose between A, B, and C, pwedeng dalawa. How about from the given table of values? Which relation shows a function? 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So the correct answer is letters A and B. A and B are functions since all the values of x corresponds to exactly one value of y. So, katulad kanina, meron tayong 1-to-1 correspondence. Unlike table C, where negative 1 corresponds to two values, 4 and 1. Diba the first row of your table of values there in our example are the domain or the x values. The second row naman are what we call the range or the y value. So, dapat titignan mo dyan, yung domain mo, exactly one unique element lang in the range. Hindi pwedeng isang domain tapos dalawang range ang naka-correspond sa kanya or more than two. So, let's move na to our sixth statement. For the sixth statement, just determine between the three options, alin doon ang functions. So, here, on the following mapping diagrams, which do you think represents functions? Again, you can have more than one correct answer. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Time's up na. The correct answer is the relations A and C. The relations A and C are functions because each element in the domain corresponds to a unique element in our range. However, B is a mere relation lang, hindi siya function because there is a domain which corresponds to more than one range. So, meron ka sa letter A na example na meron kang dalawang domain, it corresponds to isang range, which is letter B and C. B and C both corresponds to letter Y. It is still a function kasi by definition, yung isang domain mo corresponds to a unique element pa rin in your range. So yung letter B, that's example of tinatawag nating one to many. Kasi yung letter X mo doon sa domain, it corresponds to dalawang values sa range mo, which is letter A and B. So your X corresponds to both A and B. That is not a function. Tapos sa letter C naman, of course, hindi naman tayo limited to our letters. We can use words tulad niyan, mga pangalan, to correspond a function or a relation. So let's move now to our statement number 7. Which of the following is a graph of function? So 5 seconds ulit tayo pili lang. Pwedeng more than one ang correct answer. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Time's up. The correct answers are letter A and C. Sige, so yung dalawang graph na yun ay graph of functions, pero yung B and D, hindi. So, paano ba mabilis ma-determine if a graph is a function or hindi siya function? So, meron tayong ginagamit na tinatawag na vertical line test. So, a relation between two sets of numbers can be illustrated by graph in the Cartesian plane. So, yung nakikita nyo X and Y, that's what we call the Cartesian plane. And that a function passes the vertical line test or tinatawag nating VLT. Hindi yung sandwich V on V. Letter V tayo, VLT. A graph of a relation is a function if any vertical line drawn passing through the graph intersects at exactly 1. Ibalik tayo sa statement number 7. Let's try to draw a vertical line. So sa letter A, if we're going to draw a vertical line, kahit saan man sa graph na yun, it's just going to intersect at exactly 1 point lang. So ibig sabihin, letter A is a function. Tara naman yung letter B, meron tayong ellipse dyan. Yung nakaganyan. So, pag nag-drawing ako ng vertical line test, sa dulo ng ellipse, nag-intersect siya at 1 point. Pero pag sa gitna ako ng ellipse na nag-drawing, it intersects at 2 points. So, pag may ganon, nag-intersect siya sa 2 points, kahit na nag-intersect into 1 point lang yung gilid niya, yung dalawang gilid niya, basta merong part ng graph na pag nag-drawing ka ng vertical line, mag-intersect siya ng more than 1 point, it's not anymore a function. Next, to letter C naman, we have there a parabola. So, pag nag-drawing ako ng vertical line sa any part of our graph, it will only intersect at exactly 1 point. So, ibig sabihin, my graph is a function. How about for letter D? It is not a function kasi if we draw a vertical line sa dulo nung nakatagilid na parabola, 2 points siya, di ba? Pag nag-drawing ka ng vertical line dito. Ibig sabihin, letter D is not a function. So let's go now to our second part. So tapos na tayo sa speedrun natin, di ba? Speed lang. Real quick, real review. Punta na tayo sa pangalawang part, which is functions IRL or functions in real life. So let's have scenario number 1. Okay, sabi ni Boy, we're together for the last 7 years. Sige, mag-role play tayo. Wala si Sir Ramil eh. Kaya ako lang mag-isa ngayon. We're together for the last 7 years. And I believe you are my forever. Will you marry me? I love you too, and I will marry you. So for our first scenario, we have there, landian, joke lang. A proposal of love. So monogamous marriage, example given, Christian countries or sa Philippines, is an example of function where there is faith and loyalty. Sabi nga niya, faithful and loyal forever. Yung lalaki yung domain natin, and then yung babae, yun naman yung range natin. One domain to one range. One man or to one woman, or one woman to one woman, or one man to one man. So, yung mga ganyan, these are monogamous marriages. So, parang isa to isa lang. Pero, there is a culture where one guy can be married to multiple women. Diba? Meron din naman sa other countries na one woman married to multiple men, o kaya one man married to multiple men, and so on. So, yung mga ganon, yung mga one to many correspondence and many to one correspondence, you have to set kung ano ba yung domain mo and ano yung range mo. Kasi, tulad nga na sinabi natin kanina, pwede si one to many as a function, pero hindi pwede si many to one as a function. Let's move to scenario number 2. Meron tayong 4 friendships. Hey classmate! Are you Chinese? No, classmate. I was born Filipino, 3 stars in the sun. So, nationality could also illustrate a function. We expect that at least one person has one nationality. Let's say si Kim, o yung interview nila dyan kung Chinese ba. Si Kim is the domain and her nationality is the range. Therefore, there is a one-to-one relationship. Kasi si Kim, sabi niya, Filipino lang naman daw siya. Since Kim was born and lives in the Philippines, she can never have multiple nationalities except Filipino. Kasi meron tayong law sa Pilipinas, yung RA 9225. This is not applicable to Kim since she was born in the Philippines and never a citizen of the other country. Let's go now to scenario number 3. Sabi ni Andre, good morning daw classmates, as our requirement in statistics. Tapos na yung stat May I know your religion. When a religion is also an example of function because a person can never have in paper two religions. So, sige, another example pa, paano natin isusulat tong real life situation in a function form? If distance d is a function of time, t, give a function d that can represent the distance a car travels in t time. If every hour the car travels 60 kilometers. Pause the video here and try to see if you can answer, if you can write this real life situation to a function. So, the correct answer is D. Una si D kasi we're going to give a function D. Tapos, sa loob si T kasi in terms of our time natin ko-compute our distance. Every hour, the car travels 60 kilometers. So, 60 T. Okay? So, if T is your R, so 1 hour, that means naka-travel ka ng 60 kilometers. Pag 2 hours na, that means naka-travel ka ng 120 kilometers. So, represent that in function. It's D of T equals 60 T. Let's move now to our next scenario. Give a function B that can represent the amount of battery change of a cellular phone in HR if 12% of battery was lost every hour. So the correct answer is B of age is equal to 100 minus 12H. Kasi every hour, nababawasan daw ng 12%. If nakalipas na ang 5 oras, so that's going to be age equals 5. So 12 times 5, that's 60. So, 100 minus 60, that's 40. After 5 hours, ang battery mo na lang would be 40%. So, next scenario naman natin. Medyo hirapan natin ng onte. Squares of side X are cut from each corner of a 10 inches by 8 inches rectangle so that its side can be folded to make a box with no top. Define a function in terms of X that can represent the volume of the box. So, recall lang ha, ang volume ay area ng base times the height. So you can pause the video here and try to see if you can write this real life situation to a function. So, try natin in a real-life situation talaga, yung bakit kaya naging ganito yung tamang answer. So, this is a rectangle. Let's say it's a 10 inches by 8 inches rectangle. Tapos, we're going to cut each side of the rectangle by x. So, isipin nyo na lang square yan ha. So, bawat side, ginupitan natin ng x. So, itong haba nitong ginupit natin, that's what we call x. Tapos, ang ginawa, ayan. Meron na akong rectangle na bawat side ang gupit niya ay x. Tapos, I folded my rectangle para makabuo ako ng box na walang top. So, bawat side yan would represent your box. Ayan o. So, meron na akong box with no top. So, ganito yung sinasabi ng problem natin. So, ano yung volume ng box na to? So, una muna, originally, we have 10 inches. Diba? This is 10 inches. Tapos, binawasan natin ng x dito, tsaka ng x dito. Kasi pag finold natin, ganyan na itsura niya, diba? So, bawas ng isang x and then another x. That's going to be the length of your base. So, 10 minus 2x. So, yun yung una. Kaya 10 minus 2x. Yeah. Sunod. O, tapos na to. Ayan. Paano naman tong isa? So, this is 8. Diba? Originally, this is 8. Kaso, binawasan mo nitong isang x and then another x pa. So, ito yung base mo, which is yung rectangle sa ilalim. So, that's going to be 8, the whole thing, minus x, and then another x, that's 8 minus 2x. Kaya meron tayong second term dyan na 8 minus 2x. How about yung last one, which is the height of our box? Etong x na to before, pag finold mo pa ganyan, that's going to represent the height of your rectangular box. So, the third term to get your volume is x. Let's move to our next scenario. So, a user is charged 250 pesos monthly for a particular mobile plan, which includes 200 free text messages. Messages in excess of 100 are charged 1 peso each. Represent the monthly cost for text messaging using the function T of M, where M is the number of messages sent in a month. Again, you can pause the video here and try to see if you can answer this real-life situation by representing it into a function. So, our correct answer is this function. So, T of M equals 250 sa first part, and then sa baba naman, 250 plus M minus 200. So, if your text messages is within 0 to 200, o kaya 0 hanggang 200, ang babayaran mo ay 250 pesos lang. Pero pag sumobra ka na sa 200, ang babayaran mo, 250 plus piso bawat excess. So, ang gagawin mo dyan, 250, which is your base charge or yung charge mo hanggang 200 messages, plus every excess sa 200. So, M minus 200. Para makuha mo yung excess, kung ilan ba ang sobra sa 200 mo. For example, if nakapag-text ka ng 210 messages, ibig sabihin, may sobra kang 10, di ba? So, in reasoning, meron kang 250 na base charge plus yung sobra mong 10 na text messages kasi piso per sobra. So, ang babayaran mo in total, it's 260. So, tingnan natin sa function natin kung ni-represent ba natin yun ng tama. So, if it's 210, tingin tayo sa conditions, yung may mga greater than or less than. Alin ba dyan? O, 210. It's more than 200. So, dito tayo sa second row. If it's more than 200, let's try to put it in our function. So, yung M magiging 210. So, 250 plus 210 minus 200. 210 minus 200, it's 10 pesos. So, 250 plus 10, that would be 260. So, ang babayaran mo is 260. So, ano bang tawag sa mga functions na ganyan? Ang tawag natin dyan ay piecewise function. So, a piecewise function is a function which more than one formula is used to determine the out. So, we notate this idea like this, f of x, so kanina, di ba, dalawa yon. It can have more than 2. It can have 3, 4, or 5. There are instances kasi when we need to describe situation in which a rule or relationship changes as the input value crosses certain boundaries. So, your turn. The cost of hiring a catering services to serve food for a party is 250 pesos per head for 50 persons or less. 200 pesos per head naman for 51 to 100. And 150 pesos per head for more than 100. Represent the total cost as a piecewise function of the number of attendees to the party. So, your turn. Comment below kung ano yung sa tingin mo ang tamang sagot for this real-life situation. So, in conclusion, for our summary, the first one, relation. A relation is any set of ordered pairs. Second one, a function. A function is a relation or rule of between two elements such that each element in the domain corresponds to exactly one element in the range. Again, pwede si one to one and one to many. Pero hindi pwede si many to one. Third one, that's a piecewise function. A piecewise function is a function in which more than one formula is used to define the output. So, ayan yung form natin. So, chapter 1 and lesson 1 is done. So, you did it. Congratulations. This is functions, IRL, or functions in real life. And I'll see you on our next lesson.